Were we all watching the same thing this weekend? It was absolutely wild, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't worry, we're going to get to that shot here in just a second. This is Last Call. My name is Caden Colford. Jake Helton is sitting beside me today on the desk, and we'll soon be introduced to Landon McQuitty. But Jake, as we hop into what is now set as the Final Four, what an Elite Eight it was. Let's start in the West, where we saw the Boilermakers fall to Purdue. You were in the studio on the buttons for this game. What were you listening to?
It was an exciting game. They were very excited for the first half, but there was, I'd say, maybe the 12-minute mark of the second half. I think they started to realize, the guys announcing the game, that it just wasn't going to happen. They just didn't have that second push, the third push they needed in the second half to get over top of a very good Arizona team. And I think they're truly the best team coming out of one of the better regions in this entire tournament.
And that's crazy to say, because in that first half, Oscar Clough was playing a great game. Braden Smith was finding his shot early. Purdue was really they looked like a tough team to beat. I mean, you see they were executing the high pick and roll very well, and Braden Smith knocked down a few big threes, but eventually they would cool down. Arizona heats up, and Arizona's defense really looked great come the second half.
Well, it's the difference between Arizona, their bigs, they're grown men. Those are grown men out there, and that's no knock against Trey Kaufman-Renn. That's no knock against Oscar Clough. Those are just different players. Those guys are going to be playing in the NBA next year, if not the year after that. And I would say maybe 4 of the starting 5 for Arizona are NBA players, if not all 5 of them. It's so hard to compete with a team that has that much depth. And when your scorers aren't scoring, that really doesn't help anything. Oscar Clough will head the Boilermakers. That doesn't happen hardly all year. Fletcher Loyer, they needed threes out of him. It just wasn't the same team that you saw 2, 3 a week ago, whatever it was.
It stinks because Fletcher Loyer, apart from that last 3, had 5 points, 4 fouls come the last minute of the game. And I feel like that last play where we saw the ball roll down the left sideline, Arizona gets on the floor, beats Purdue to the ball. I feel like it says a lot about how this game went. Arizona wanted it a little bit more. They played a whole lot better, and they're going to see the Final Four because of it.
I mean, I can't say anything otherwise. I mean, Purdue just didn't play. Trey Kaufman-Renn had 2 rebounds. 2 rebounds.
5 for 14 with 3 assists, a couple turnovers and 4 fouls. He, alongside Fletcher Loyer, were in foul trouble for a good portion of the game, which hurts, but you have to step up in these big scenarios. Braden Smith in the second half, 4 for 15 in total, 3 for 8 from 3, 3 turnovers, and we've talked about Fletcher Loyer's struggles shooting the ball.
And I'll say this, Purdue fans, don't be upset. Don't go anywhere. You got a state champion coming your way. Luke Ertl, 4-star, coming here. I've talked to quite a few people about this just because I'm not even really a Purdue fan, but I'm excited for Purdue basketball next year. You got Jack Benner, a guy that I got to play against. You've heard that plenty enough. But this guy, Luke Ertl, triple-double in semi-state. In the second game of semi-state.
In high school, a triple-double is wild.
Triple-double, and it just keeps getting more and more impressive. It takes down a very good Crown Point team and a very deserving state champion. He'll be in West Lafayette next year. I think it's going to be a very solid squad. There's also the chance that you saw the development of Zach Edey. We talked a little bit about this last week. We didn't really get to hit on it, but Matt Painter, one of the best developmental coaches out there. Daniel Jacobson could be one of the best bigs in America next year. That's what happened with Zach Edey. Nobody knew who Zach Edey was. He just kind of came out one year and was like, whoa, this is now the best player in the entire league.
That was going to be my question. You have the ability to score, and you're recruiting very well out of the Hoosier State, but who's going to fill the shoes of that patented Purdue big? I like Jacobson. We saw him play against the University of Indianapolis in their opener, the exhibition early this year. He looked good. But as you say, if there's anybody that could develop a player, a big, it's Matt Painter.
And I think that's kind of what they've seen in the future. They're going to need a little bit more help with the bigs. That's why they've almost developed Jack Benner as a 4. He plays that kind of support of Trey Kaufman-Renn as the 4, but he's really more of a 3, a 2 guard. He shoots the ball very well. He finally started to see a shot go in as the season went on. So looking at Purdue, they're going to be in good hands next year. I don't know where that goes because you're losing the 3 winningest players in all of Purdue history. Nobody has more wins than Trey Kaufman-Renn, Fletcher Loyer, and Braden Smith. Nobody. Well, in Purdue history, that is, at least. And that's pretty good history. I mean, there's a lot of heritage. They've won, I think, 2 Big Ten championships, something along those lines. They're a very good team, and it's going to be hard to replace that, but that's what the portal's for. Matt Painter said he's already going to be in there tomorrow.
Have to be.
It'll be today now. He's already in there, and that's just how basketball is these days. You got to take it in, be proud of what you did this season and be happy for what you were able to achieve, and then move on to the next season, because those guys, they've got NBA careers ahead of them, and you've got another year of college basketball to coach if you're Matt Painter.
What an era for Purdue basketball. What an era for Matt Painter. He'll continue to look for that Purdue success. We'll move to the South bracket now, where Illinois and Iowa faced off. A Big Ten matchup in the Elite Eight is not something you see often, but Illinois proving that not only are they good, but they're great and they can compete with the best. This is after Iowa knocks off Florida. I don't know if you expected to see a 9 seed in the Elite Eight, but props to Illinois because they sweep this one.
They did, and they also beat what I thought was the best team in the region in Houston. On the primetime pick, I actually picked Houston to beat Illinois just because I thought they were the better team. I thought the guard play would outplay. You have a freshman in Keaton Wagler. He's very good, but I thought the experience of Emmanuel Sharp and the offensive prowess of Kingston Flemings would be able to overpower the offense of Illinois, but it just wasn't. The offensive rebounding is too good. They are too good at rebounding. They just out-rebounded everybody, and that's the difference. Every single game. And David Mirakovic, he had 12 rebounds, 5 of them were offensive rebounds, and that's just how this team rolls. They shoot threes, they get their own misses, and they put them back in. Or they just hit the three to start off with. That makes it a little easier as well. It's a very good Illinois team. We knew they were very volatile, very, very dangerous. If they hit their threes, they win. If they don't, they struggle. They just have been hitting all their shots, shooting near 50% from the field. That's ridiculous.
Insane. And as you say, a plus 14 in the rebound category. In the NCAA tournament, mind you, almost unheard of. But the only kind of red flag that I see is a lack of scoring depth. But if there was anything that you could put as a cushion there to kind of alleviate that pressure, it would be your rebounding, especially offensive rebounding. If your guys aren't hitting shots, they're getting more shots, they're getting more looks, they're getting more chances to find their groove due to that ability to grab the ball off the glass.
That's how it's been all year for Illinois. They just get more rebounds than the other team. And they outscored Iowa 43-27 in the second half. Just a very elite team, a very well-coached team as well.
I thought it was insane watching them play Houston in a second half where we saw a 36-28 score at one point, 5 minutes into the second half. And now they're playing a game where they're up into the 70s. So this team can play varying styles of basketball, which is very, very good considering who you might have to play upcoming. For them, we'll talk about the other sides of the bracket here shortly. It's not going to be a cakewalk, to say the least.
No.
Michigan and Tennessee, that is in the Midwest, and really not a whole lot to say about this game other than the fact that the Wolverines tore up the Volunteers by 30.
I think we're really just seeing how good Lindenborg actually is. He is an elite player, and Dusty Mays put together a phenomenal program. And to think that Indiana could have had him as a coach.
Could have been the IU guy.
Could have been at IU, but instead Michigan makes the play and they get the good coach, and they're being rewarded for it. They put together a very solid team, and you wouldn't expect a guy from UAB, a former JUCO player, to come and be an all-star, the best player in college basketball this year, but he just has been. Lindenborg's a reliable guy. He hit the game winner. He was having one of his worst games, and he hit a game winner. This is a very good team, well-rounded. Elliot Cadeau is probably the most important addition to this team, in my opinion, because he gives them depth at the guard spot, which is what they were missing. If you look at this roster, that's all they needed. They needed one more guy they can rely on to bring the ball down the floor. Cadeau, he can also shoot a three, he can get to the basket, the mid-range is all right. That's exactly what Michigan needed, and you're seeing a perfect puzzle has been put together, and that's how you get a championship.
Michigan looks like they have the ability to run away with this. They have 5 players in double figures, and you mentioned Cadeau had 8 with 10 assists. 10 assists is very, very tough to get as a college guard. We've seen some of the best, even at the Division II level, struggle to even get close. To find 10 in a tournament game just tells you how good this Michigan team is, how well coached they are, and how deep the roster goes.
And I will say, I think last week I accidentally called Jacoby Gillespie Lucas Gillespie. I went to school with a kid named Lucas Gillespie. My bad. Jacoby Gillespie is a very good player. He'll be an NBA player. You'll see him on the team, if not the G League. But I think he is talented enough. He can shoot the ball very well off the dribble, which is kind of what a lot of teams are needing at this point. So get him coming off some screens. An NBA team could definitely use a guy like him. And he's coached by one of the best in Rick Barnes.
So that's 3 of the 4. And this last one, you've probably seen the shot already 100 times already, whether it be your Instagram, your TikTok. The Greenfield Central native, Braylon Mullins, knocks it down from near 40 feet, just inside the half-court line. Oh my goodness, UConn beats Duke by 1.
It just starts with the comeback. You can talk about the shot all you want, but they're down near 20 points at one point in this game. This game was getting away from them. They were able to reel it back in, and you mentioned it, the reason why you put them in your top 5, the coaching. It has proven to be more superior. I mean, John Shire's a great coach, but he's no Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley showed up, went into the locker room, made the adjustments. The defense got a lot better. Right there you're seeing a little bit of the boozers, but the defense got a lot better for UConn in the second half. Right there, you see they're down by 14. It was about a 10-point game, and then they slowly started working their way back into it. And sometimes it's not a one-man show. Caden Boozer played great. Caden Boozer played pretty good, but it comes down to one play, and he panicked. He panicked. Here it is right here. Throws it, and Caden Boozer panics, throws it right into the arms of the defense. Mullins gives it up, gets it right back, puts it up. Money.
Cash.
And that's a trip to the Final Four right there. A freshman sending Dan Hurley and another player, Alex Connon, or not Connon, but another player who is a 2-time national champion for this squad. And the freshman is the one who makes the play.
What's insane is Caden goes 2 for 10, 1 for 6 from the 3-point line against Duke as possibly UConn's best player, and they end up winning. Terrace Reed Jr. has 26, only misses 6 shots all day, 9 boards, 3 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals. You need a guy like that on your team. Somebody can do a little bit of everything. UConn's got it. They have guys everywhere that can shoot, they can play defense, and when you're corralled by a coach like Dan Hurley, who's been there, done that not only once but multiple times, it helps too.
I would honestly, if I'm Illinois, I'm feeling the heat a little bit right now because that coming off a big game winner in Illinois, they played a number 9 seed, Iowa. I know I just heard people in the back room talking, or control room talking about how Illinois had a cakewalk into the finals. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but I think they had an easier path than, say, a UConn, who came out of the hardest region. They had to go through a Michigan State,
that was a gauntlet.
Duke, St. John's was in there, Louisville was in there. There were so many good teams in that bracket. So the fact that UConn's the team that makes it out makes a little bit of sense. Some coaching got them through the hard times, but now is where it all resets. You have the Final Four. This is a completely new game against a completely new team. And for UConn, they're going to struggle to guard the 3-point line. They're going to make Illinois take tough shots, but they hit those tough shots. They get their own rebounds, and then they put them back up. There's so much to this Illinois team. It's hard to game plan for, but if there's anyone that can do it, I would say Dan Hurley is going to be the man to figure it out.
UConn plays Illinois on the 4th, and Arizona plays Michigan, and that decides our national championship. That'll be on the 6th, and our pick for that soon to come here on the next episode. But very 4 stacked teams. UConn, Illinois, Arizona, Michigan. Is there a clear favorite to you?
I don't know. See, you asked me that earlier, and I want to say that after the big win over Purdue, that Arizona might be the favorite. I think some people are going to argue that Michigan is because they just beat Tennessee by 30. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but to me, I think the most impressive win was Arizona because I thought Purdue's guard play, you're talking about 3 guys playing to keep their season alive in Trey Kaufman, 4, Oscar Clough, Trey Kaufman, Wren, Fletcher Lawyer, all of them. There's so much more that goes into that. We even saw it in the GLVC tournament. When you're playing for your season, it just means a little bit more. So I find that win to be that much more impressive over a hungry Purdue team.
I like UConn because I saw Duke as almost unbeatable. Really, I saw Duke as that team where they were going to steamroll their way to the national championship, play a good game against either Arizona, Michigan, and then probably hold up the trophy. But for UConn to win against them, I think that says a lot about where their team sits at this point in the tournament. I like their odds against Illinois, and we'll see from there. But that's our look at the Final Four. More hoops to be played, however, as we're looking to the NBA as they round out their season. A recent overtaking the MVP ranks. We'll talk about it up next.
And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening and welcome back to UMB TV News.
For the campus, local, and national headlines you need to know, tune in to UNETV News, Mondays at 6.
NBA is, I think, a toss-up this year. There's a whole lot going on. In the West, you thought the Thunder were going to run away with it at the start of the season. Not exactly. They're ahead by 2 games, and hot on their tails sits the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. Last I checked, they had won 8 straight and continue to kill the West.
I think you're 2 games back as of last night.
Insane. Wemby, in the MVP ranks, has moved over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, at least according to the NBA. And as we look at this, we're seeing Wemby, Shai, Jokic, Doncic, Jaylen Brown. It's pretty solid, right? I mean, there's a bunch of big names and good players on that list. We're going to ask myself, Jake, and Landon McQuitty over on the desk what we feel that top 5 and what that number 1 spot should be. Starting with myself, it's got to be Victor. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know I've been a Victor hater for the last however many weeks, but realistically, just watching him play. The argument against Shai is that I feel that he is a better team than Wemby. Really, just up and down. He has 2 big forwards that he could pass the ball to at any time that he wants. He has J-Dub sitting to his right that he can dish off and have 30 on that end. And while the Spurs have a very, very good team and Wemby isn't playing with bums, he is that guy right now in the NBA that you do not want to play, and especially in a 7-game series. A coach can game plan for Wemby once if they're a great coach. Try doing it 4 times. I don't see it.
See, I see the complete opposite. I see that it would be harder for Wembanyama to be successful over a 4 to 7 game stretch than it would for a team to guard him for a 4 to 7. Telling me that you can't put together a game plan to shut him down?
Yes.
That's exactly
what I'm telling you.
I completely disagree with you because there's certain ways that you can guard him. He's had bad games before. He's not averaging 40 points a game. So there are ways different teams can guard him, and I don't think you just throw a bunch of size at him. That's not the answer. You have to be creative in the way that you guard him, whether it's doubling down in the post, forcing him to pass it out, and forcing somebody else to hit the big shot. You just have to rely. When you play a team like the Spurs, it's almost like playing against Luka Doncic. You have to rely on him to make the mistakes. You have to let him miss his shots. So if you force them to take tough shots, you're doing all that you can, and it's proved to be enough. I think the second half, UConn versus Duke, UConn made Duke take horrible shots. They were taking a bunch of tough contested threes, and they had hands in their faces. Same thing here. It's hard to get a hand in the face of Wembanyama. Yeah, he's 10 feet tall. I get that, but if you put 2 people underneath him, it makes it a lot harder for him to hit those shots.
You're waging good questions, Jake, and I'll answer a few of those here in a second. But first, I want to turn over to Landon and ask how he feels about Victor assuming that number 1 spot. And do you think that I'm wrong in saying that he deserves it?
Yeah, I think we're just really seeing how powerful it is in the NBA when you go out to the media and try and create your own narrative. We saw Victor Wembanyama go out and have basically a presser just arguing for himself to be MVP. We saw a few years ago Marcus Smart did the same thing, ended up being only the 2nd guard in NBA history to win Defensive Player of the Year. So just having the care to want to win MVP, go out there, argue for himself, I like that a lot. But for me, he's just a 3rd-year player. He's just not the most polished yet. Victor Wembanyama will get his MVPs. I just don't think that this is the year he should get his first.
Guys, we talk about Wembanyama like we're expecting 40 out of him. And you can get 40 out of Wembanyama on any given night, right? However, we are looking at probably the defensive player for the next 5 years, defensive player of the year for the next 5, I'd say 8 years in the league if he continues to play the way he's playing right now. So even if Wemby drops 15, he's going to have 15 rebounds. He's averaging over 4 blocks in his last 4 games, 18 blocks in his last 4 games. He could drop 8 points a game, and I still think that on a lot of courts, he'd be a top 2 player.
You know who's going to be the only court that he's not the best player on?
Tell me.
If he's sharing the court with a man named Nikola Jokic, maybe.
Okay.
That's who I'm going to go with. There's no way you can say that he is not the best player in the NBA right now. He just had 2 triple-doubles. He had 20, 15, and 15 in back-to-back games. It's never been done before. I feel like every year I have said Jokic is doing something that nobody has ever done before. Yes, we're going to say that about Wemby eventually, but not this year, dude. No way. Jokic is a dog, and I changed my mind last night. I had picked Wemby. I texted our producer and I said, give me Wemby. I'll go with Wemby. If Wemby's taken, give me Luka. I turned on the Nuggets versus the Warriors. I watched 5 minutes of that game and I texted him and instantly changed my pick to Nikola Jokic. Dude can shoot the ball, dude can rebound the ball, and he can pass the ball. Better than anybody.
I'm a big Jokic guy. I've always been a big Jokic guy. I love watching him play. I can't wait for the playoffs so I can watch him play in a 7-game series yet again. But I don't know. We're watching it. We're watching the Spurs tear up the West. We're watching them kill dudes. We're watching them kill coaches, kill teams that otherwise have been good this year. Jokic is good, and the numbers don't lie, but
he had one of the worst shooting months in the past 6 years of his career, and he is shooting 57% from the field. What are we talking about right now? This is the best player in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. 28 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 11 assists per game. Nobody is doing that. Only he has done that in the past. How many, you talk about the assist. Okay, let's go to Wemby. Wemby averages 3 assists. You know how hard it is to get you just talked about. You know how hard it is to get 7 more assists per game? Yeah. He's getting 10 of those. That means that 10 of his teammates, or 10 times throughout the game, his teammates are getting good, wide open shots, and they're hitting them. And that's why this is going to be a team to compete for the national championship, the NBA championship.
Landon, I need you to step in and tell me where Jake's wrong, where he's right. What do you think?
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about it. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. When we did our top 5 players in the league, we all had him at number 1. That was not debatable whatsoever. But the MVP race, this is where we reward winning. I have to go with the best player on the best team in the league, the reigning MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, doing it all without his second best player for most of this year as well. I think that's not being talked about very much. He also has the highest plus-minus in the NBA. I do want to mention, though, they are currently 1-4 against the Spurs, 1-3 with SGA. But when you look at those stats compared to SGA and Wemby, SGA averaging 30 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists in those matchups. Wemby only averaging 18, 9, 2 points, and a block. So SGA definitely been playing better in those matchups, just not getting the win. When they play the Nuggets, 3-0 against the Nuggets, SGA is averaging 35 and 12, less than 2 turnovers a game. This guy is just elite.
I like Shai.
What'd you just find, Caden?
Look, I like Shai. We're talking about Shai right now. Look at the highlights. He's a great clip farmer, okay? But I think he relies too much on his team to be considered the most valuable in the league. I think that if you take him off the most talented starting 5 that the NBA has seen since, Boston probably a couple of years ago, then I don't think that he's as good as he is. I think that he really, I wouldn't call him a mooch, but he is a great benefactor of the OKC front office.
I would say I have to agree with that because OKC gives him the space to do whatever he wants. The spacing on the floor allows him to do things that not other teams, not other players are able to do. I did watch him as well last night. They played the Knicks, tore him up. The Knicks suck. I'm about tired of the Knicks. I'm about done with it. I'm about done watching them. I'm going to just turn it off from now on. I started watching First Take now. Stephen A. is a big Knicks fan.
Sure.
I've never heard a more dejected fan in my entire life. He's done. He's given up on them completely. But with that, I say that to say this. I did watch this man ball out last night, and I was close
He's a hooper.
I was close to changing my mind for a third or fourth time to say it was Shai, but the biggest difference, I think, for me is just that you can stop Shai. If you put 3 guys on him, you can stop him. If you put 3 guys on Jokic, he's throwing it for an alley-oop lob between the legs dunk to Jamal Murray or Cam, whatever his name is.
I'll believe it when I see it, but I understand the thought process that you're in right now. The Nuggets front office has also done a really good job building around Jokic and
Jamal Murray. I mean, he's finally playing good again.
But something else I would say, would you consider Denver's 5 better than San Antonio's? Yes.
I think they're very similar.
Would you consider Denver's starting 5 better than San Antonio's?
I'm really not sure. With Denver, they've just been so many people in and out of the lineup. It's hard to get a consistent 5. But with San Antonio's been playing great, especially with they have guys off the bench that can come in and do it as well.
Let's put it 1-to-1 because you got Peyton Watson and you got Stephon Castle. Like that's going to be maybe not a 1-to-1 type comparison, but like that's better than comparing him to De'Aaron Fox. Like maybe you're saying I personally think the Spurs have a better lineup.
I'm not saying
I think the guard play is a little bit better. You add
Jamal
Wemby
Murray's better
to
than
that.
De'Aaron Fox. I'll give Castle the spot at 2. Who did the Spurs start at their 3?
I think Cam Johnson's probably the 3. I would say so. I would say so.
Aaron Gordon, I like at the 4. And then you can take your pick on the 5, right?
Okay, so we're going to say that the Nuggets have the better roster, but I will argue that didn't matter last year because you sat here and said that OKC has the best roster.
That was last year.
Who won it? Who won it, though? It always comes back to, it doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter what the fans think. It doesn't matter what the players think. It's the 200 people that get to vote on this stupid award that just turns into who can score the most points and make it look the prettiest. I think it's Jokic. Just my personal opinion.
I don't know if it's going to look the prettiest, but if you're supporting Jokic, you're going to love everything that falls. When he tosses it behind his head, behind his back, somehow off the board and in.
Every play just seems like, even when it's not planned, it seems like it was planned.
Mm-hmm.
Like the behind-the-back passes, it seems like he's been thinking about that since the first quarter. Like it's so hard to emulate and replicate what Jokic does. I don't think anybody will ever be able to do it. We're talking about Wemby as like the next big great, but how is he going to do? Averaging a triple-double is so hard. There have only been 3 players that do it.
He's not going to average a triple-double, but he's going to average 20, 28, and 15. 28, 15, and 6, or not 15 and 16. 15, 16 rebounds with 4 assists and 5 blocks.
And that's what Jokic is already doing.
Minus the 5 blocks and any kind of defensive presence at all. Not at all, but it's hard for a big to not have any presence at all.
I think that he can guard anybody down low. There's nobody that he cannot guard down low. Nikola Jokic, one-on-one, in the post. He's guarding everybody. There's no argument in my mind that's taken. He is the MVP. He has proven himself in I thought last year was one of the most impressive statistical seasons that I've seen out of him, and he didn't win it. This year, I think what he's doing on the court is almost more impressive than the stats.
Well, Jake, I want to give the last word to Landon here because we've been talking a lot about our bigs, but Landon, in what case do you make for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander holding more value than our 2 guys here?
Well, with SGA, this was my pick of who I think they will give it to. I think it'll just end up being SGA, but this race is just incredibly tight. And every guy we showed up there in the top 5, you can make a case for. Cade Cunningham also had a great case. So having this big of a competitive MVP race is just great for the league. But SGA, everybody knows what he does. No, you don't really have to make a case for him anymore. He made it. It's basically the same thing as last year. But the big thing for me, for Nikola Jokic, is obviously I mentioned he's the best player in the world, but he's really kind of entering that LeBron James type of category where LeBron was the best player in the world for a long, long time. And there were several years where he didn't win MVP. So you can't just give it to Jokic every year, in my opinion. I still give it to Shai because Jokic and the Nuggets, they can really struggle to win games. Sometimes we saw last night they were in a dogfight against the Warriors, who aren't very good. They just dropped a game against the tanking Grizzlies not too long ago. They played against the Spurs without Victor Wembanyama, fell behind by 25 points, still ended up winning, but just not winning in the way that you would want them to. And like I said, this is where you reward winning, in the MVP race, I think SGA.
I will say one thing. There's a chance that the committee could do all the work for us because if Jokic, there's 6 games left if I'm correct. He's got to play 5 of those 6 to be eligible for those awards. So they could do some of the work for us. I think Cade is not going to be eligible after 2 more games, I think is what it is, or he might already not be eligible, and they're going to try and work around that. But I just think there's no way. Jokic, you look at the stats and you look at the impact he has on the floor. He makes when he's not on the floor, his team, the Nuggets, they are one of the worst in the league. It is such a drastic difference when he is on the floor and when he's not on the floor. That's why I get the most valuable player to his team. I think he is the most valuable. Maybe he's not the best at all times, but I still think he's the most valuable to his team.
All right, we're talking about the 1 seed, the 2 seed, and the 4 seed's best players. Can't wait to see who holds up that trophy come the end of the season. But Landon, thank you for your insight. It's now time for the prime time pickup. We're going down the wire, and this week it's going to be the Final 4. These games got to hold some kind of weight,
I was going to say, we got to double these or something.
We're doubling them, making them worth two games apiece?
Yeah, 2
okay.
games. Double them.
Mark that down. Illinois versus UConn is going to be our first game. Jake, I'll be polite and let you have first grab.
All right. I'm going to go with UConn. I think that Dan Hurley is able to coach a little bit better than the previous 3 coaches have against Illinois. Force them to take those tough shots and find a way to end possessions after one shot. That is what these past 3 teams have struggled with. They've given up multiple attempts. I think UConn, Dan Hurley, well coached enough, well disciplined enough, and they also have a little bit of size to help with that rebounding.
I'm really torn right here. I can't lie to you, because if I have any hope in winning the primetime pick'em, have to kind of.
Here's the thing I will say about this game that scares me a little bit. Braylon Mullins is a tad bit undersized, if you will. Keaton Wagler is one of, if not the best freshman guard in the nation this year. He could have 50 points. That is a legitimate possibility.
It's truth. And I was just looking at his stats. I mean, 25 on 8 for 17 shooting. It's not terrible, but it takes a lot of volume, right? But if he's hitting, if he goes 12 for 17, then he's up almost near 40.
I was on the bus on the way home from one of the men's games earlier this year, and I watched him score 45 or 40. I don't remember who it was against, but I know
probably against Purdue. He broke the record for.
Oh yes, you were absolutely right. Most points scored by a freshman in Mackey Arena. Yes. So if he does that again, that's almost an instant.
You're making me feel better. I'll take Illinois. I'll take Illinois, and I won't feel as bad about it. It's going to be a big one as we move to Michigan versus Arizona as they play at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Would you like the first pick again?
Sure. Why not? Let's think through it real quick. Michigan, Dusty May, a very well-coached team. Yaxel Lundenborg, pretty good player. I'm going to go with Arizona, though. I think Arizona, the grown men, show that they are ready to play in the NBA, and that's why Arizona is gonna take down Michigan.
Yeah, I feel better about picking Michigan in this game than I did about picking Illinois against UConn. I think that Michigan can do a lot of the same things that Purdue did in the first half against Arizona to make it a tougher game down the stretch. Now, Purdue in the second half just did not hit shots, failed to create any kind of offense. Even when they found good looks in Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Wren, they were not going down. I don't think that Michigan is the type of team to do that, especially working off of a 33-point win against Tennessee.
Not in the second half. They're the best second-half team in the country, which scares me a bit, but I just think that Arizona's been there, done that. They've played so many of these big games already that they've prepared themselves for this moment. Got everybody back and healthy. I think it's the time.
Let's look at the records. I heard that I had a halfway decent week last week.
I thought you did. I think
apparently not.
Oh.
Still down 11 games, and somehow I'm at a 44% in picking these games. That's terrible. That's atrocious. It's good that I don't get paid to do it, but maybe one day, right? Jake, how's it feel to be ahead by as much as you want?
Comfortable. I mean, as we come down to the end of the school year, you feel the pressure of all that, end of our college careers, and it feels a little nice to take this pressure off my shoulders, not have to worry about the primetime pick'em.
Doesn't look like I'll have primetime pick'em winner on my resume this year, but we might win these two in the Final Four, and we'll go from there, see if we can shake things up a bit. This has been fun. It's been great. This is Last Call National Championship. We'll talk it next week on Last Call.